Ishmael. I'm a photographer here in Dayton, Ohio. Excited to host another session. So I'm gonna go down the list and let you guys kind of introduce yourselves. We can start with D. Watkins.
Okay, my name is D. Watkins. I'm an R&B singer. Has anybody heard the music?
I feel like
bro. I'm looking forward to it.
I got a new single called Try that I just dropped about a week ago. So if you type that in on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, you know.
All right, next we got Kiri.
I'm an artist here from Dayton, and I love to be organic. And I think when it comes to agendas, I'm going to have a lot to say. I'm going to have a lot to say because I'm an independent artist and thinker, and I don't like to limit myself by being closed-minded. So let me start by introducing myself in that way.
Okay, Wes.
All right, so my name is Wes, code name Wes the Tech, and I'm a music producer, also a music business coach, and I empower independent recording artists to start a full-time music business. So they basically no longer have to work outside of their craft. I guide them to the different steps to how to actually achieve that.
You said you're down in Florida, right?
Yeah.
I finished my master's at Full Sail.
Full Sail, okay.
Yeah, so and my degree was in entertainment business too. So I definitely think it's important for people to kind of make sure that in as many ways as possible, you're like monetizing your interests and monetizing your quote unquote hobby so that you can really turn it into a career outside of just, the virality of everything. So yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. So to hop into the discussion, what agendas do you feel are being pushed through the music industry? Like a big one that has been talking about now with the release of his album, with Lil Nas X album, is the quote unquote gay agenda. With that, we also have the emasculation of men that kind of ties into that. But then we also have like the hypersexuality of women. So like what agendas do you feel are purposely being pushed through music and entertainment?
Honestly, I feel like all those things are being pushed through the music industry. But I think what's deep to me is it all depends on the fan base of the artist. Because it's like Lil Nas has his own fan base, and the gay community, they love him. So they kind of have that artist. Then you go to like Drake, you got the R&B singers, rappers like myself, I love Drake. So he's in that community. So I feel like it's subjective. I feel like music is subjective to the fans, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we can think of it as an agenda, but sometimes you almost offend people by not being a part of somebody else's fan group. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's weird like that, Because I think one time I did almost offend somebody just by I'm just not a fan of Lil Nas, and I was just kind of shocked by what he was doing. But then everybody else was like, man, why are you acting like that? Like, why are you this? And then I was just like, well, it's just a different time, So that's just how I feel. It's just a different time. And
I think that's a smart way of looking at it, really, because then you're not ready to get offended about something that isn't made for you.
Exactly.
I think that's a smart way to look at it.
I mean,
certain things are made for certain people.
That's the only way I could kind of like comprehend it, because it was kind of like when I would just talk, I'm used to how the industry was almost in like the early 2000s or like the mid 2000s. It changes almost every 5 years. So now everything is out in the open. So you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. And if you be like, no, why you do that? Then they be like, oh, you're homophobic because you don't like Lil Nas. I'm like, nah, I just, I'm just not used to that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I mean, for me, I feel there's definitely an agenda when it comes to that, especially with record labels, because quite frankly, they're starving right now. With the rise of independent music, with the rise of social media, the record label is needed less and less. So because they're needed less and less, they try to find bigger fan bases in other areas. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to push for people in the gay community to listen to music, and people from just all of these different places. I mean, I think just recently there's like this country artist that did a song, and Young Thug was listening to it. And it's like, okay, now they're trying to grasp the country fans. They're just trying to grasp fans from all these different places to stay afloat. Because, right now we don't necessarily, especially hip hop, we don't necessarily need the industry anymore. It's like operators with phones. You know, there was a time that we were so dependent on them, but now they don't even exist no more. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got a couple things I thought about that I wanted to share with you guys. I think in general, so the music industry is trying to sell records. They're trying to promote people spending money on music. So at the end of the day, the things that people do in the music industry are for the purpose of promoting music, but they go about it in such a roundabout way that you don't realize that they're making you mad, but it's really just to promote music.
Yeah.
Like you might think, oh, this is for pushing this agenda. This is for pushing this group, this community's perspective on people. But in reality, it's actually, I think it's just the music industry trying to sell music and promote music.
Absolutely.
And by doing, and to do that, they're making people mad, you know, and getting people to just talk about musicians just because of how much crazy, you know, hype is surrounded by their name and controversy. That's something been going on way longer than 5 years ago. So I think 5 years from now, that's one thing that's not going to change. You're still going to have the music industry's promotions of people dividing and just hating each other for like no reason other than because they want money.
But of course, because that stuff sells at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you look back at Jay-Z, like when he really started to peak is when he had the scuff with Nas, you know, when they were going back and forth at it, you know, like even the current, you know, this whole Drake and Kanye thing, like Kanye has controversy with something every time he's about to drop a project. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. So obviously it's all to promote the music, you know what I'm saying? When Graduation came out, it was him and 50, you know, when the Christian album came out, it was He Wants to Be President. So he builds it up in such a way that people just gravitate, like you said, it's just all for the paper.
Which is wild because I don't feel like I get on TMZ. I don't get on those type of websites, those tabloid websites to really eat up that stuff. I don't really eat that stuff.
No, yeah, for sure. But you gotta look at like other people, like let's take the Drake and Kanye, for example. They both were just picking at each other. Nobody was saying anything definitively. It was like, oh, if you want to know what I got to say about the situation, go listen to my album. You get what I'm saying? And that's both of their approaches on it. So when both albums finally release, boom, millions of streams off rip because everybody wants to know what they want to talk about.
It was even as far as to be like, oh, I'm Team Donda.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I'm CLB gang or something ridiculous like that.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Do y'all think they're using kind of like developing these agendas to kind of use alongside social media or to kind of combat social media? Because now with social media, you can't really get away with saying certain things in your music because if we don't see you living that way or doing the things you say you're doing, now people are less likely to kind of buy in. So do you think that there's more of an effort to kind of use that with or against social media? Because with social media, there's so many ways that you can kind of promote your music, get your music out there, get those streams, get that attention. So what do y'all think about that?
Well, for me, I think that's when it comes to these artists, they're definitely using social media as their advantage, you know, especially, you know, when we're talking about major artists, you know, because we get to take a peek at the life that they want to show. As much as they want to show it, you know. So like going back to that same beef, it was heightened because of the little snippets of things that they were posting on social media. You know, back then it's only, you know, word of mouth. Oh, this was Jay-Z said about Nas. This was Nas said about Jay-Z, but we never really knew. But in this day and age, though, Drake will post a snippet saying something about Kanye, and that gets 1 million views, and it pushes them. But at the same time, social media is the main reason why the record labels are starving more now than before, because you got cats like Cardi B who blew up on social media. She didn't need a record label.
How many people do you think had a job at a record label and now have a job at a social media company? I feel like it's possible. I feel like it might have even shifted towards that direction, especially because it's about the same size. I mean, these are billion-dollar companies. Social media they're not small companies. They're huge. They're probably bigger than any record label ever.
Absolutely.
They're even working together a lot on things to kind of promote their artists and promote their labels on social media. Like I know Sony has a like a university partnership that they do where you can actually, an organization or your school can partner with Sony and do different things like host album release parties. They even had something where they were giving out like movie tickets for like movies where Sony was like the main producer behind the soundtrack. So they're kind of being intentional on kind of crossing those boundaries of the music industry now includes social media, whereas before it was like a tool. So it's kind of interesting to see that, and even how they're being intentional on what they kind of are and aren't doing or showing on social media from the label's perspective.
It definitely makes it hard. I think harder for indie artists to get their music across because of social media. Now, I will say there's pros and cons to everything, but it used to be a pro was like, okay, let's say you post a snippet of your song on your story on Facebook. Okay, let's say you have like 700 friends or 700 followers. And it used to be like 150 or more, like 200, 250 sometimes people would see that story in one day within 24 hours. I'm talking just about 3 years ago. Now they've tightened up the algorithm and they're making it harder and they're monetizing people's attention on your own friends list. So it's like, not only now do you have to do the work to get the followers and to get the people watching you, but you also have to pay money just for your own people that already follow you just to see it, because it's like, then you're banking too hard on their dime, on Facebook's dime and on Instagram's dime. You're all of a sudden, you're making more money than the people that work there and they don't like that. So it's like, what? It's like, so I really like on the pro side of things, I really like the tools that social media has given me as an indie artist to be able to share my music. I love it. I really do. But I really don't like the fact that they are making it tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter to where it's like, I'm working a 9 to 5 to save my money to try to make it full time in the music. And y'all are making it harder because I'm giving you my money right back for what? And it's like, it's almost like setting me back. Whereas it was fine 3 years ago. Enough people were seeing me 3 years ago to where I was getting reliable streams. Now streams are harder to get. Not to mention every day there's like how many 60,000 songs uploaded to DistroKid and to Spotify. So it's getting more flooded and it's getting tighter. So these tools are not ideal. They're getting more frustrating to deal with.
So I have a question on that topic that you're covering right now. So like with that in mind, as an artist, well, with you two being artists, how does that influence the music that you create? Like, because music instead of it just being about the music and how it sounds, how it makes you feel, a lot of it too is like selling a lifestyle. And part of selling somebody a lifestyle, you have to fall in line with the certain agendas that you're either supporting or combating in the industry. Because on the other end of all these agendas is also cancel culture. If you say you don't like Lil Nas X, you're going to be labeled as homophobic, and now you're quote unquote canceled. So how does that influence how you work with people in the industry, how you create your music, who you decide to work with? Like, how does all that work together?
I would say, just my opinion, work with artists that you like. I'm getting there, but I'm not on the level yet where I can get a Drake feature or I can get a Chris Brown feature. But just work with people that you're familiar with, so it ain't no clashing. If you find somebody that's, out of your element, if they want to work with you, cool. But just do something that you already on. I'm already an R&B singer, so why not try to get a Summer Walker feature or a Black feature or Russ? Y'all ever heard of Russ?
Yeah, of course.
He's dope, man. Dude, he dope. I just discovered him about like a couple months ago. Like he's really dope, man. He put out a lot of content. Man, he don't even care. He don't care. He's been doing
it for years, and he started off independent too.
See, exactly. Yeah. So he don't care. He like, y'all here, y'all gonna take it, and the confidence is half the battle too. But as far as like, I would want to work with Russ. It's that R&B soul vibe. Work with people that's familiar versus like somebody like that. I mean, if I call up Lil Nas, cool. If you want to work, I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have a limit. I'll still keep mystery. Like, I'm not just going to do anything in the music video. Just
going back on the question.
Somebody that's going to be fun. So that way, when I'm out, it's fun and it's not forced, because people they're going to feel it. It's a feeling.
Absolutely.
When I hear that music, they're going to be like, this kind of sounds forced. This don't sound organic. Yeah. If you work with somebody you already love, it's all gonna be tight,
Absolutely. And you gotta do as much features as possible, because their fans could end up becoming your fans and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? And then when it comes down to like the whole, like censoring your music or kind of making music to fit to a certain thing. Like I've always had that motto: be yourself. You get what I'm saying? Whatever yourself is, just be that, because there's gonna be a fan base out there for it. You know what I'm saying? As much as, you know, like when the baby came out with the whole homophobia and everything, as much as a bunch of people were like cancel culture, there was a whole nother group of fans that he ended up gaining from that, who agrees with that with that mentality.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? No different than you look at the election, it was split pretty much down the middle. As polarizing as those two candidates were, it was split down the middle. They both had a major fan base, regardless. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you stay true to yourself, people who agree with your mindset are going to become your fans. You know, the hard part is just finding those people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's really the hard part is how do I find those people?
Oh, another agenda that's kind of being pushed right now, and we're even seeing it kind of crossing over now into sports, is like COVID and the vaccine and all this different stuff.
Oh God.
Yeah. Even there was Juvenile and Manny Fresh did the Vax that ass song. You know what I'm saying? So like how when things like that are being pushed in kind of in the culture, how does that influence the kind of things you're gonna work on? Like, would y'all be willing to work on a song about COVID and the vaccination, or to speak up on behalf of like the industry? Because like right now they want LeBron to be like the face of get vaccinated for the NBA, but he's saying like, I understand what y'all doing, but I can't do that. That's not my decision to make for the entire league. So like, how do y'all feel when it comes to things like that controversial?
For me, that's too serious. Like that is too serious. I make art. I don't make propaganda. Like that's so serious. Like there's government people that get paid to do that kind of research. I just want to make music that makes people happy. I want people to have a good time. I want people to be healthy, and have a good message. But if I was to ever get asked to do something like that, I would not feel comfortable doing that. For me, like, tell people how to live their lives or what they should do. That's beyond music for me. That's beyond art for me.
I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Like a vaccine commercial, if it was like the right check, I'll do it. And I had a song on there. I don't know why. It's just that's not a problem for me. You know what I'm saying?
What if you didn't believe in it though? Like, what if it was against your beliefs? You get what I'm saying? Like, if they're like, oh, you gotta do, get vaccinated, but in your belief, you're like, nah, no, I don't want to get vaccinated, none of that.
Hey, I came in the game to do music and for my music to take up, not for what I say or what somebody is paying me to be willing to say.
I feel that, but like I say, I always think of like as an independent artist is visibility, and when it comes to vaccination, it's terrible now. But I mean, COVID ain't going nowhere. It don't seem like it's slowing down. Hopefully it disappears. But like, if somebody was like, "Hey, yo, D, can you sing a song about the vaccination?" and the check is right.
Yeah. What about on the other end though? Would you be a part of a project like, say somebody wanted to put out an album of songs saying not to get vaccinated, and the check is right? Would you be willing to be a part of something like that?
Saying not to get vaccinated? No, I wouldn't do that. Like if it was just
that's what we said. That's what we said.
Yeah.
No. If it's like a negative,
if it's in contrast to your beliefs, exactly.
I got you. Nah, I probably would.
Yeah. No, and it's tough because like I remember the whole George Floyd thing, that polarizing topic and everything like that. I remember when the riots and things started happening, I run a music studio as well, and I engineer for artists. And, for that whole month, I probably had like 12 different artists that came in and did like a George Floyd song, about police brutality and everything like that. And it's like, for me, I feel like on both sides, it's like, I know that some of you guys probably been through it as well, and you're letting out the frustration of what you've been through. But at the same time, are you just trying to milk this particular situation, and drop something because this is the climate of what we're talking about right now? You just trying to make a buck off of this man losing his life. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, it's tough. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying about being an artist. It's tough. When do you say yes? When do you say no?
Facts.
I think it's about
when you're trying to be in front of people, when you're trying to get as many fans as possible. What if it's like a a nice opportunity to be in front of the camera, nice check, but the topic isn't what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's about, because even as a photographer and like having that artist perspective, a lot of art is kind of subjective and up to your interpretation, but some stuff is just right in your face. So I think it's about drawing that line about who you are versus like the things that you're putting out. Because, you know, there was Lil Nas X got popular because of Old Town Road.
Right.
And there was some like kind of sexually suggestive stuff in there, but that song was kind of really about nothing. But then when he started really making music and like becoming the artist that also tied into who he was as well, now you start to see where people are kind of like, okay, wait, hold on, like you're too popular to say certain things, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, but I don't think Lil Nas X necessarily came up with, like, respectfully speaking, I don't think he came up with those ideas that he's using now. They just are there. They're like tools for ways for him to get money to sort of aggravate people or play the divider in certain situations.
I think it's the label telling.
Yeah, the labels, the companies, the people putting up the money for him that says we need more money than this back. Right, because it all runs off.
And it's something that's never been done. So people are really like, of course, you had that in rock, you know what I'm saying? You had that in other genres, but hip hop, there's never really been a Lil Nas X. You get what I'm saying? When I look at the Cardi B's and the Megan Thee Stallions, to me, that's normal. You get what I'm saying? Because we got the Foxy Browns, the Lil Kims, and all of that. Like, there's always been eras that we've had overly sexualized women hip hop artists, but now you got, you know, a homosexual male hip hop artist, and it's like, whoa, all right, that's different. You know what I'm saying? And people really don't even know how to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But because it's new and it's fresh, people gravitate to it.
But Wes, don't you think that it kind of, sorry to interrupt, but don't you think it kind of plays into the like taking advantage of young, insecure people by putting all these things in their way to make them feel all these feelings that they've never had before? And then by then getting the money from them is really what it's about.
But we got to understand, like what he was saying earlier is the era that we're in. You know, it's very rare to watch a show now that doesn't have a homosexual in it. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's very rare to watch a movie that doesn't have. It's just growing in our culture so much that so many people are accepting it. You get what I'm saying? And there's no right or wrong with whether you want to accept it or not. That's just your own beliefs. But it's a big topic, you know what I'm saying, especially for our generation. So there's a place for profit to be made. And that's what I feel like Lil Nas X and his team came across, and it was like, this could make us profit. You know what I mean? Because now he's just over. Now he's over the top with, I mean, showing up with a pregnant belly and things like that. It's like,
right.
Whoa. You could, you know, and you literally have people who support, you know, the homosexual community, like starting to question, yo, is he being gay for pay right now? Like, what is this? Because he's so over the top with it. But when you see stuff like that, you know that it's a money grab. You know what I mean?
Well, if at the end of the day, the overall feeling, the overall general like sentiment is that we should be proud that we're including everybody now, then be real. There's other people you're not including too, besides
that's facts.
People that are being included now. So
that's what I'm saying.
That's the
flip side. That's the flip side of art. It's kind of like you, like I said in the beginning, you offending somebody, but you including another community. So it's kind of like it's no right or wrong answer. All I say is everybody just need to respect everybody. Don't nobody need to be getting mad, trying to fight based on art. That's what I be trying to make a point and prove in my music is it's all positivity. Even another artist, they might, you know, do something that's just off the wall, but like anything with me.
Would you do a fake beef? Would you ever do like a fake orchestrated beef with another artist? No. You wouldn't?
No way.
I've seen that done.
I don't want that. I don't want that type of energy. Because when you see me, I want it to be all just chill R&B. We just vibe.
But see, that's partly because you do an R&B. Because
I can get away.
Hip hop, a beef could go a long way for a hip hop artist's career.
When you a rapper, that's a part of the game. Like when I was younger, oh my God, I used to love What's Beef. I used to watch that all the time. Like
and with these young cats now,
50 Cent, The Game, that was like what was popping. And like they don't really do beefs like they used to. Like beefs used to be serious.
No, yeah, people used to die back then. Yeah,
yes,
it was real.
You
That
get
was
killed.
real.
Yeah, like it's a wrap. You know what I'm saying?
Now instead of like beef culture, it's almost like hive culture. Like kind of how you saying like Team Donda versus Team CLB.
Yeah,
so,
I'm
like,
talking more of just that kind of a
so
beef.
like stuff. So now instead of like beef is kind of being replaced with that's kind of like
just pettiness.
It's almost like they're drawing the lines. It's like, well, if you like Drake's new album, you can't like Donda. When it's really like room to kind of enjoy both. But even in those same instances, there are people like developing like smaller agendas and that. Like during the whole Kanye thing, it was everybody was trying so hard to figure out what the meaning behind everything was that it was like kind of taking a voice of its own. So now it's all these people who are Kanye fans saying, oh, his album really saying this, and this is why he's coming at Drake. And then on the other hand, Drake, when he dropped his album cover, everybody is like, I don't know what it means, but now you have people like, oh, it's because the album was late. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of just everything creates kind of a narrative of its own. And it's important because like the biggest thing from the Drake and Kanye beef, neither one of them said anything. There were no interviews. There were no press statements. Everything was memes, Instagram posts, text message threads. People were just creating these own narratives. So it was kind of interesting to see where everything went when you can't really say there was an agenda behind the beef to kind of promote both of their albums because nothing was ever said exclusively on either their behalf. So it's kind of interesting to see where the industry is going and how they're taking advantage of kind of social media and the way you can kind of shape your messaging to kind of fit one way or another. So when people do step out like Lil Nas X, that's why it's so jarring because it's just like, you're a brand new artist and you're going these lengths. Like, how do we know what's real and what's fake?
And not only that, the acceptance, I feel like the acceptance is already there because you got Tyler, the Creator, right? Who years ago he came out, you know what I'm saying? And he won a Grammy last Grammy Awards. You get what I'm saying? And Tyler, the Creator is like accepted by like everybody. You get what I'm saying? And he doesn't have to go to those lengths. So like you said, it really makes you wonder, like, damn, why is he going like this though? You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it seems like there's more to it.
Well, the agenda that I want to push, if I'm going to push any agendas in my music, is like making people think more about why there is so much money in social media and collecting data on people and why there isn't more money on people eating healthy. Like, why aren't there more organic restaurant choices in my city? Why is there only a handful? I think there should be more here. And sometimes, people who live in Dayton, witness what goes on and how it is here over the years. And they see that sometimes it feels like what's happening here in Dayton is on purpose. Like, it's like for some reason there's a lot of money here, but it's not being used in certain investing ways that would make things better. And it just sort of seems like that whole thing is an agenda not having to do with the music industry in itself, keeping the money in some invisible force field has all the money, top 1%, Illuminati, whatever you want to call it. Somebody has a lot of money that's able to print it whenever they want. But for some reason, the average working person is having a very hard time getting a hold of that money to fix problems in their life. But yet there's plenty of opportunities for them to waste that money. But how about the opportunities to grow that money? So I think that there's an agenda that I want to push. Yeah, it's make yourself independent, make yourself not have to do a corporate tap dance, and not make yourself have to sign contracts where you have to do whatever you're told, even if you disagree with them.
Absolutely.
And that's important. Ownership is a huge aspect of that as well, because as we see like these different areas kind of grow, like everything was always New York, then it became New York and California. Now it's in Atlanta. Now the Midwest is getting a part of it with Chicago and Detroit. And it's kind of important for, even if you do develop these partnerships versus signing these contracts, it's important to kind of make sure the wealth kind of goes back into the city. Because that is true. One thing about Dayton, there is a lot of welfare, but you don't know where it is because certain areas suffer so much. Like last year, it was a whole thing about getting a community grocery store put on the west side of Dayton. And you would never think in 2021 that a city has to have community members come together to put a grocery store on the side of town where there's no grocery store. And you kind of see that in places like New York, where Manhattan, Brooklyn, these places are now affluent suburb areas that they weren't 20 years ago because of places like the music industry, the entertainment industry, and the kind of impact that they've had. So it's kind of important for, you kind of see it in Detroit, and you even see it with how Ari or whoever, Moneybagg Yo girlfriend, they just bought him land in Tennessee, and Young Thug's management bought him land. So you kind of starting to see that reinvestment starting to happen. So I feel like that's an important agenda that's starting to be pushed in the industry that I'm excited to see kind of how that evolves in the next 10 years too. But yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Oh, you guys notice how Lizzo gets so much hate?
Man, that's wild.
And I like Lizzo's music. She's super talented and she seems like a cool person. But like for some reason, it's just all the hatred is just like a magnet to that woman's like social medias. Every time she does a video, every time she opens her mouth, somebody has something negative to say. And I don't understand why. And I feel like it's just because she seems nice. And for some reason, nice equals no profits, no money. So it's like maybe somebody has a problem with her pushing the agenda of just being a nice person. Who knows? I don't know if she is nice, but it's just what I see.
She doesn't fit the prototype. It's the same reason why, you know, when we had Drake, J. Cole, and Kanye, and Drake, J. Cole, and freaking Kendrick is the word I'm looking for, right? They kind of came as like the three kings of hip hop, but Drake ended up catapulting above Kendrick and Cole when it comes to popularity and things like that. And when you notice, you're like, yo, why is that? It's the controversy. Kendrick don't get into no controversy. J. Cole don't get into no controversy. They just make music, right?
It could be the sound too.
Tired of their music. You said what?
It could be the sound, because Drake has kind of like a really like, even if you don't know English, you could really like Drake's music, I think, more than
very true,
because
but
of his cadence and his melody.
Very true, but I also think of the Pusha T incidents, and like if you look at Drake's history, like within the past like 10 years, there's been a lot of controversy. He's had controversy with so many different
you're right.
So many different things, and it's just like, if you're not having controversy, people are going to start listening to your music, which is crazy, right? But that's what it seems like is going on. You know what I mean? But the real music heads still know, because obviously Kendrick won that Grammy for his album over Drake and things like that. But when it comes to like the controversy, it's really catapulting these artists to another level. Cardi B is full of controversy, you know what I mean? And she catapulted, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you've been seeing that again since before long after 5 years ago, and we'll see it 5 years from now. You know, we're going to be seeing the controversy being pushed. That's also not something that I want to do with my music. It seems like you don't want to do that kind of a thing either. You seem like you're a chill R&B singer.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like I keep it spiritual. I don't know how about you, but spiritual success is also is more important to me than material success, which material success is constantly all day pushed by the music industry.
Because I feel like the whole goal should be to make people feel good when it comes to art. Like life is already hard enough. Life is already hard enough. So when somebody's trying to listen to music, you're trying to feel good. Nobody really trying to look and just feel. And that's what artists, they don't understand. I was just talking to my homie about this not too long ago. He said Cardi B said she's not a role model. So, you know, why do you be questioning Lil Nas or different artists on what they do? I said, well, they said that, but they lying to you, because you are a role model. When you become an artist and you have a following, you're an instant role model.
Whether you want to be or not.
Exactly. My Instagram hit 90K. Even before that, 20K, 15K. I knew of certain things I just can't post, because when I would post it, people would be sending me messages like, wait, whoa, what are you doing? Why this and that? And I said, okay, I got to make sure I just don't post anything, because you might offend somebody. You know what I'm saying? You got to think when you're doing songs. You got to think when you have a look, you influencing the culture, you know?
When you're in the spotlight, you're going to be a role model no matter what.
Exactly.
You don't decide to be a role model, like they choose you, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to,
and you sign up for it though. Even if
I was going to say the same thing. Yep.
You say, I want to be an artist. I want to be a rapper. I want to be a singer. You didn't sign up to be a role model, period. So if it's negative, you're influencing the public negatively. If it's positive, you're influencing them positively. It's up to the artist, because you can do both, either one. It's up to you. But with me, it's all positive. You know what I'm saying?
I still think that being nice is worth it at the end of the day, whether or not you make money from it. And it just being nice feels good. And I'm going to keep doing it. So nobody's going to convince me to start being a jerk to people just because it's worth money. Because there's certain people that have that in their mind for some reason, it seems like from the time of birth, that like in their inner circles, the more mean we are to everybody, the more powerful we are. And I'd rather take power away from all that being mean and just put power into being nice.
I'm with it,
courteous to people, man. Like, courteous to the guy at the gas station, to everybody, man. Just not be a sleazy person that's willing to just step on somebody.
And you really do not want that type of energy. When you don't want that type of energy. 6ix9ine energy is crazy. It's like you want a death wish. That's what it feels like to me. Like when you that successful and you like F everybody, it's inevitable. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you know, it's crazy you say that, because you know it's a touchy subject, because you know I've had conversations with people in the past when it came to XXX. You know what I'm saying? It hurt my soul when it happened to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know, being young and everything like that too. Same thing for Pop Smoke. But when you go back and you listen to some of the things that they used to say and things like that, I'm like, man, you should have never said that. You get what I'm saying? You don't know what enemies you create with the
that's
things
the
that
type
you
of
say.
things certain people are willing to do for attention or for money or for fame. I've witnessed, I'm not gonna say any names because I'm not the type of person to throw people under the bus, but somebody I personally know got famous, got a record deal, and I actually ran into them in the mall. I saw them in the mall. They had their whole entourage with them, and they acted like they didn't know me. And that really hurt my feeling, because they made eye contact with me, and I was like, hey, and they just kept walking. And I was like, really, like, man, we used to rap in the basement together, homie. Like, honestly, obviously, I'm gonna have a problem with that, but I'm not going to publicly say anything because I'm not that type of guy. Because it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I have my own life, but just that's what fame will do, man. It'll make people think they're so important, and they're not even going to say hi to you no more when they see you.
But it's weird because, like, I also feel like it depends on the person, right? Because I remember when I was a kid, DMX came to our mall one time, you know, and this when he was popping out, he was taking pictures with everybody. You know what I'm saying? He literally just came to T-Mobile, and there was an issue with his bill, which is hilarious because it's like, bro, you're DMX, you should be rich. But he was he was mad down to earth, took pictures with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Bought all the kids ice cream, and he was just straight up down to earth. You get what I'm saying? So it's weird to me when I hear stuff like that, because it's like, bro, you don't even got to be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you don't even have to be like that.
You don't even got to be like that. You still going to have your entourage. You're still going to be famous. You know what I'm saying? None of that's going to change just by being real. You get what I'm saying? But it's weird.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up. First and foremost, thank you everybody for taking part in this discussion. I really appreciate it. Without you guys and your guys' input, this show would not be possible. So really appreciate all your feedback and everything. And then the only other thing that I was going to mention was the Saturday sessions. It's a brand new thing we just started. It happens every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. if you guys are available. I know Kiri and Wes are signed up for the next one. So Ishmael and Dee, if y'all can make it, that would be great. And it's just an open conversation. Once you sign up, you can put in what topic you'd like to discuss. I think, Kiri, you had mentioned something as far as like distribution and copyrights. I forgot what it was, royalties for this upcoming Saturday.
Yeah, the different royalties.
I got a video for that.
Yes.
I can break that down for you.
Yes. So Wes is like a mastermind at that. So Wes will be there, and we can definitely go in depth about your topics, and you can explain what you're wanting to know, and then we can talk about it with anyone else who's on there. But I know y'all two will be there. And then anyone else who submits, I know there was another person that was kind of hitting on what you were talking about tonight, Kiri, as far as like positive messages in music and how to spread that on a more wider scale, I guess. So we'll see what he's talking about for that, and then anyone else who joins throughout the week. But I'll send an email on Friday with kind of the topics to everybody who's attending that call, and then from there everybody will kind of be aware and prepared for Saturday morning session. So if you guys are able to make it, and currently it is free, we'll see down the line. I want to make it part of a membership because it seems to be really helpful for everybody that has, been involved so far or who has heard the idea. So, but for right now, it's free. But I will let everybody know well in advance if there is a fee involved. But yes, please join. And yeah, that's all the announcements I had. So we're good.
I really appreciate it, you guys. Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Good talking to y'all.
All right.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. You too. Everybody have a good night, and feel free to reach out at any time.
Take care. Be safe.
Gig merge when gigs merge.